This video is brought to you by StoneAgeGamer.com, a fantastic site for retro games, systems, accessories, and more. Be sure to check out StoneAgeGamer.com. Skip it up and that up! So yeah, the PlayStation brand for Sony is doing very well at the moment, but Sony as a whole is hurting, man, big time. Here's just some of the stuff going on within that corporation. Well, for starters, Sony CEO Kaz Hirai is preparing to take a 50% pay cut while declining his annual bonus. On top of that, other unnamed high-level Sony executives are also following suit to show solidarity. On top of that, Sony, this was actually talked about a couple weeks ago in the news, they're expected to post a $1.27 billion loss for the 2013 fiscal year. They expected, this is a far cry from that, they expected to turn a $489 million profit in 2013. They're a tad off from that. A big reason for all this is the PC business, the VAIO laptops that they sell. Or sold, or still kind of selling. They're looking to sell it and spin it off. People realize that Sony's no longer or looking to get out of the PC business, so their laptops aren't selling. They have a whole bunch of inventory collecting dust at warehouses, and that's really hurting them right now. And as good as the PlayStation brand is doing, the PS4 especially, it's behind 45% from where it was 6 years ago. So even though PlayStation's doing well, it's not enough to hold up a whole conglomerate. Sony has multiple facets going on, like 4K TVs. They're trying to get into that niche market. It's also not doing well. And they're trying to bring back Walkmans too, which... yeah, you're a day late and a dollar short for that, Sony. So I know a lot of people are going to get defensive with this video and say, hey, Rich, PlayStation brand's doing great, Sony's going to make a comeback, and you're just hating on Sony, and so on and so forth, which, fine. Yes, Sony, in terms of PlayStation, they have made a complete 180 from the launch of the PS3 compared to the PS4. They learned from a lot of their mistakes, and the PlayStation 4 is doing fantastic. The PS Vita... but the PlayStation 4 is doing great, and I'm glad to see that. But again, like I've said in other videos, you guys have to realize Sony is a conglomerate. They sell multiple different products. They sell televisions, not as much. They sold computers. They sell telecommunications devices. So many other things. I have a Sony car stereo in my car right now. I just installed a few weeks ago. You know, Sony has a lot of different products out there, and the PlayStation alone can't save them. They need to trim the fat. They need to streamline Sony as a whole corporation or conglomerate, and they need to cut the costs down, and they need to make Sony profitable again. What kills me with Sony is, and I think I've said this in a video a while back, is Sony was the name you went to. Sony was the company you trusted with your electronics in the 80s and 90s, man. When you went to get a TV, it was Sony. When you went to get a portable audio device for MP3 players, you got a Discman or a Walkman. Just Sony, a component stereo, it was Sony. Boom boxes, showing my age there, you went to Sony. I mean, Sony, what kills me with Sony, they invented pretty much portable music with the Walkman. And they totally missed the boat with the whole MP3 craze, man. I remember, because I loved mini disc as a kid. And I remember when, the iPod came out, Sony tried to turn the mini disc into like a storage device / mini disc recorder, and it had god-awful interface. Like, yeah, you could put more heavily compressed music and fit multiple albums on a mini disc, but the software was really awkward, and I'm like, facepalm, Sony, what did you do? You were the guys who defined portable music with the Walkman, and now you're trying to scramble and trying to play catch up with Apple, which they never did. They never did. And, and the whole industry has changed. Back in the 80s and 90s, there was a reason to have a camcorder, a reason to have a Walkman, a reason to have a Discman, a reason to have a Watchman. They actually had portable TVs called Watchmans. And there was a whole reason by all of Sony's different products. Now you could have your smartphone and it does all that. So, and that's another reason why they're hurting. I think Sony's ego got in the way, and they didn't want to, grow with the times. And now they're in the 11th hour where they keep on like teetering on bankruptcy. I'm not saying they're bankrupt, but I'm just saying they're losing money. And now they're selling off buildings in Manhattan. They're spinning off their PC business, which I think is a smart move because laptops are in decline more and more every year because a lot of casual computing users or consumers are going over to tablets. And all these different products that they had are pretty much irrelevant and unnecessary. It'll be interesting to see what they do with 4K TVs. That's a new market, and hopefully they can make a comeback with that. And I don't know why they're trying to bring back Walkman. Sony, again, cell phones, smartphones. I bring this to the gym with me and put my headphones in and use it. I don't need an extra device. Well, actually, I do. I have an MP3 player too, but that's a declining market too. The Walkman market or portable music device market is declining as well. So I don't know, man. I mean, I think Sony's going to do it. I'm sure they're going to trim the fat enough and remain relevant, or maybe they'll just become a PlayStation company. Who knows? In a few years, maybe they'll just be PlayStation. We'll have to wait and see. I wish them the best because I've been a Sony guy and I've been a fan of Sony since I've been pretty much in diapers, and I don't want to see them go away. All right, folks, this is Rich of Review Tech USA. Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting my channel. Have a good one.